Since the beginning of the modern age of video production, let's call it the turn of the century, now 22 years ago, there's been a divide between computer-based live production and hardware-based live production. The software-based systems running on PCs like vMix and the hardware-based systems, notably evolving from the Grass Valleys and Panasonic live production switchers of the world to today's ROS and ATEM switchers, each having their own advantages and each camp being firmly divided among them which of those advantages is the most important. Hardware switchers having less ability to deal with IP sources and graphics and data and most notably NDI, and live production systems which, while they're more powerful and more flexible and can do so many more things than hardware-based systems, do tend to run on computers, and computers have their shortcomings. And today, I'd like to introduce to you something that kind of bridges that gap. This is the PTZCam Switch N8. It is a 8-channel NDI live production system. It also has one HDMI in for bringing in graphics locally from, like, say, another laptop. And it is capable of bringing in a large number of NDI HX2 sources, and that's very key in that it's different from full NDI. Full NDI is, for example, what BirdDog and vMix put out, but vMix will bring in NDI HX2, and a lot of the encoders, KiloView, PTZCam, will do NDI HX2. So today we have a PTZCam Pro Enc 1 that is bringing in the USB source from this USB camera and the HDMI from a camera over there. And then we have 3 PTZCam UV510As. Those are also NDI HX2 sources. And we have one HDMI source. So we have a total of 6 cameras coming into the system that we can switch between on this touchscreen or using the built-in physical hardware control surface. Additionally, it's got integrated PTZ controls, meaning that all we need in order to control it is just to select what camera we want in preview. For example, the one you're looking at now. I'm going to put it into preview. I'm going to put it in program and preview so that you can see both of them. I'm going to put it in preview, and I'm going to call up a new preset, which I'd stored previously. Presets are up here. And it's just going to zoom in on that so we can get a nice close-up of the unit itself. So PTZ controller controls any VISCA compliant camera, but we'll be bundling it with, obviously, PTZCam's cameras. A row of program and preview, cut and auto, iris shutter gain, red and blue gain knobs, separate zoom rocker, so if you like to operate your PTZ controller using your thumb instead of the zoom wheel here. Focus adjustment, focus speed adjustment, pan tilt speed adjustment, storage of presets and recall of presets, and buttons to play back clips, turn on and off record and stream, and then an audio bank. So I'm going to take you on a little tour of how to control a PTZ camera using the Switch N8. I'm going to be controlling the PTZCam UV510A here, and it is connected via NDI HX2 to the unit, and that's how it's receiving its camera information and its camera control. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, it's in preview right now, so that means I'm controlling it. I'm going to pan down and zoom in, and you'll note here that I am both panning and zooming at the same time, which is a really key feature. And I'm going to just pan down to the Pro Enc 1 so we can see what its IP address is and frame rate and CPU temperature, and I'm going to store that into memory. So I'm going to hit store to store, and then I can go back. I'll bring you up so you can see the transitions happen. So here's preset 1, here's preset 1, and then here's preset 2. So I can pop back and forth between those pretty quickly. And then back to program. So other things that are important about controlling a camera, the pan tilt speed. So if we want to, for example, control a camera quickly, or that's not very quick. If we want to control it pretty quickly, there's that. But if we want to control it nice and slow, you can see that we're able to make a nice slow move We can hold that position and keep panning, and then I'll store that as preset 4, go back to 1, and there you have it. It's just that easy to work with a camera. Most of the time it's going to be in preview. I've only put it in program for the purposes of demonstrating and recording what those camera moves look like from the program standpoint. Quick tour around the back. This, even though it's plugged in, you can see most of what's going on back here. Grounding connector, power switch, 12-volt power cable. Up here is Ethernet, 2 USB 2.0 slots, 2 USB 3.0 slots, our HDMI output, and then above that is our HDMI input, and then down this way is audio in and out, and then microphones. There's surprisingly not a lot of connectors on the back, and that's because most of the video is being handled by NDI. And now I'm going to show you a little bit about the user interface. I've got the PTZ camera zoomed in on it so that we can see it clearly while I can still show you where I'd like to touch. So a couple things I want to point out. Animation, the method in which a auto is done. So there's cut, which is the same as pin and cut. Push right, which is going to give us a transition like that. Fade smooth, that's the auto that we're used to. And then there's dissolve max and dissolve min, which are kind of the transitions that are closer to SMPTE wipes than anything. Layout, we can also do picture-in-pictures of multiple different sources. So if you wanted to do a transition to 2 different cameras at the same time, that's also something that we can do. And then I also want to show you the streaming dialog. This is just the general system information, tells you what it's networking. This is where you set networking, language, what its serial number, how much disk space is attached, etc. In here, this is where you adjust audio parameters, video parameters if you wanted to do, like right now it's set to a low bit rate, higher bit rate, 60 frames per second, 1920 by 1080, but we can also do these 2 other resolutions. Same thing with audio bit rate. Here is, Here is where we set the streaming. We can stream to 2 different destinations, 2 RTMP destinations, so we can stream to Facebook and YouTube at the same time. We also have RTSP outputs. This is one way of connecting to like a decoder. So if we wanted to connect to the PTZCam SDI decoder to get an SDI output out of the system, it does have HDMI out, but if we wanted to work over a local networking infrastructure to say a IP distribution or other method, like say we wanted to connect this to vMix, this is RTSP, and then we go back to the IP address port 8554/box/AV0, and we have our RTSP connection. So this is streaming. In here, this is where we can add logos. So if we wanted a logo in the lower corner, if we wanted to add my name, there's a little keyboard here. And confirm, and then turn that on, and we can position that, and we've got a little tiny lower third there. And then lastly, this is a courseware interface, which I think will also play video, but I think the intention here is that if you're using this to do lecture capture or just general running of a school, you can use a rundown list to play back videos and mix that together with your live production. Buttons for turning off recording and live, they're very small. We can actually turn them on and off using the actual physical buttons. Adding inputs, if we want to go to here, this is adding the HDMI input. This is a list of our NDI sources. We can click search NDI. It's searching for all the NDI sources on our network, and same thing for adding a local file, an MP4 file off of a USB disk. So those are a couple of different things about the interface. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. There's nothing I like quite so much as something new and different. Obviously, this is a great product to fit certain niches. I can think house of worship, schools, events, anywhere where you've just got some PTZ cameras, not necessarily the need for a complex production and an operator who just needs to hit a couple of buttons, and that's about all they're looking for. So this is the perfect product for certain applications. If you're interested in it, please feel free to reach out to us at US Broadcast. Once again, I'm Eric Pratt, and thanks for watching.